it's all covered in today's China treats.
Under the gray skies of the borderlands, one number has shattered the illusion: 57,000 arrests. In Myanmar's Kokang region, convoys of handcuffed Chinese nationals were silently driven across the border, marking the fall of a criminal empire that operated in plain sight. Behind those high walls wasn't a factory. It was an industrial-scale scam operation, built, managed, and staffed by Chinese nationals. Lies were the product. Fear was the fuel. Beijing called it cooperation. The world saw it for what it was: a massive Chinese-run crime network that turned deception into business and people into currency. Step into Kokang and you won't hear Burmese. You'll hear Mandarin. Prices are in yuan. Calls are rehearsed like scripts from Chinese police dramas. Recruiters promised high-paying tech jobs, but once workers crossed the gate, their passports vanished, and so did their freedom. What followed was a descent into a nightmare: phone scams, romance traps, crypto laundering, and online gambling rings disguised as customer service. Every click was tracked. Every transfer was counted. Every lie had a quota. The system was run like a corporation. Only failure meant punishment, not termination. Cameras watched the halls. Guards patrolled with batons. Loudspeakers barked orders. Some recruits made calls. Others cleaned the floors. All lived under fear. It was a supply chain of crime: recruiters online, transporters at the border, trainers teaching manipulation scripts, enforcers maintaining discipline, and financiers washing the profits. Without protection, a network this vast could never breathe. Without silence, it could never thrive. The 57,000 arrests were not the beginning. They were the consequence of years of indifference. Victims across Asia lost savings, families, and peace of mind. Money moved from one app to another, turning into crypto before dawn. It was precision-engineered fraud, backed by logistics, technology, and complicity. Those who tried to escape faced violence or worse. Some were sold to harsher compounds. Others disappeared. The few who survived spoke of torture, forced labor, and an invisible prison where every day was measured in stolen money and bruises. This was no isolated crime ring. It was an ecosystem. It had managers, accountants, recruiters, and guards. It expanded like a franchise. And for years it thrived because the right people chose not to look. When the crackdown came, Beijing called it a joint cleanup. But it was really a cover for years of silent complicity. Cameras that could spot a protester in seconds somehow missed buses full of trafficked workers, and banks moved millions without question. These operations didn't survive by luck. They were protected by powerful figures on the mainland, officials who turned a blind eye while the money flowed. The crackdown wasn't justice. It was damage control for a system that had been part of the crime all along. Now, 57,000 suspects stand as living proof of scale, of structure, and of silence. The scam empire was not a shadow business. It was an industry, one that exported deceit as efficiently as any product. The victims called it hell with Wi-Fi. The world should call it what it truly is: a human and financial catastrophe born from greed, denial, and organized deception. The cleanup began not with pride, but with damage control dressed as justice. Cameras rolled, uniforms marched, and the world was told that the nightmare was finally over. But behind every photo op stood a truth harder to wash away. Kokang didn't just happen. It thrived under the spotlight. 57,000 arrests aren't a medal. They're a confession. You don't accidentally detain an army of scammers. You expose a full-blown industry that grew from silence and shelter. For years, recruiters bragged online, compounds were mapped, and buses crossed borders without question. Only when the light broke through did officials act and call it resolve. Real resolve would have looked different. No buses, no networks, no banks willing to move blood money. Instead, there were ribbon cuttings, official speeches, and one-way tickets home. Responsibility has a trail: stamps on passports, transfers at midnight, and cash deposits at border hotels. Everyone saw it. Few spoke up. Every country has crime. But when crime becomes industrial and protection becomes political, the failure is systemic. So here's what justice should look like. Open audits, real investigations, public data, visa bans for the managers, and seizure of the assets that built the walls of forced labor. Publish the list of compounds. Publish the owners. Publish the amount of money returned to victims. Without transparency, the next network is already in motion. Because crime today isn't just an operation, it's an ape. It migrates, evolves, and adapts to new hosts. Arrests are not victory, they're rent overdue. The world doesn't need another joint operation. It needs restitution, transparency, and protection for those who speak out. Let foreign police witness the handovers. Pay victims directly from seized assets. Ban the masterminds from corporate roles and travel. Kokang's fall should be measured not in handcuffs, but in refunds paid, managers jailed, and victims made whole again. Each raid shows the same pattern. The same walls, the same scams, the same faces reappearing in new towns. Crime is modular. It rebuilds wherever it's left breathing. If justice stops at the border, the scam moves across it by sunrise. Many of those arrested weren't masterminds. They were trapped workers, trafficked, beaten, and used as tools. They deserve an exit that doesn't lead back into another cell. Give amnesty for testimony. Protect families of whistleblowers. Encourage insiders in banks and telecoms to come forward. The faster they speak, the faster the machine unravels. Across the region, the answer must be speed and cooperation. Freeze transfers, expose accounts, and publish seizure reports. Make fraud expensive. Make silence impossible. Scams survive in loopholes, close them, and the industry collapses. Beijing calls the crackdown virtue. The region should call it a reckoning long overdue. You don't round up 57,000 people by chance. You do it after years of looking away. This isn't the end of a story, it's a turning point. So measure progress not by headlines, but by healing. Measure it by whether families stop whispering, whether retirees get their savings back, whether workers finally go home without fear. Because cleanup is not justice until the victims rise with compensation and the masterminds fall without escape. When that happens, the headline will read differently. Billions returned, families recovered, crime unprofitable. That's the future the world deserves after Kokang. 57,000 arrests lit the fire. Now the truth must keep it burning. To stop a criminal empire, the first step is not just punishment, it's friction. Real deterrence happens when every step of the scam becomes slow, risky, and expensive. Freeze suspicious money transfers. Track buses that follow the same patterns and send observers on board. If a landlord rents to a fraudulent compound, strip their benefits. If it happens again, take the building. When telecom companies ignore SIM farms and fake calls, they should lose their licenses. When payment firms help criminals move money, they should lose their right to operate. Every platform that hosts fake job ads must share the cost of compensation to victims. Those trapped inside these networks, the coerced workers, the deceived recruits, the whistleblowers who dared to speak, they are not statistics. They are survivors. Each one deserves a voice, a safe return, and a path forward. Those who expose managers or financiers deserve protection, relocation, and new identities, not silence. Inside China, real transparency begins with one simple test. If the state can broadcast confessions, it can also broadcast open trials. Publish the verdicts. Name the seized assets. If secrecy is necessary, tell the public why. Justice hidden in the dark is not justice at all. Governments should pay bounties for verified information that helps locate recruiters and scam compounds quickly. Regionally, cooperation must move faster than crime. Recognize each other's arrest warrants. Share databases of banned-in wallets and blocked SIM cards. Victims should have a simple freeze form they can submit instantly when they realize they've been defrauded. When borders communicate at machine speed, criminals run out of places to hide. Education is the quiet weapon. Teach the public how scams sound, what the warning signs look like, how fake police calls and job offers operate. Publish the scripts for the scammers do. Let people recognize the trap before they step in. And to Beijing, stop exporting chaos while preaching order at home. Set clear international standards and prove them with transparency. Let outside observers verify the seized funds. Allow international police to witness the process. If you can't see the buses crossing the border, hand the keys to someone who can. Promises mean nothing without delivery. Victims need compensation. Families need closure. The trafficked need documents, counseling, and care. Cities that hosted these operations need trust rebuilt, one refund at a time. Deliver competence, not slogans. Deliver standards, data, open reporting, and accountability. Close the gates that fed this empire, and the world will handle the rest. Sunlight isn't a metaphor. It's a list of specifics, names, maps, dates, amounts, public dashboards, real-time statistics. Police reports available to all. Measure success not by how many suspects are shown on TV, but by how many victims get their money back, how many compounds are permanently shut down, and how many masterminds are banned from business forever. After 57,000 arrests, the world does not need parades. It needs proof. The real headline should not read, "Crackdown achieved," but "Funds returned, families recovered, crime dismantled." Until the architects of this system are held accountable, until stolen money is returned and every trafficked worker goes home safely, the world will keep counting victims, not progress. The end of this empire won't come from silence or spectacle. It will come from truth told publicly, money traced transparently, and justice delivered visibly.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.